Hey everyone, What If Fan here, bringing you another exciting part of What If Karmic Gacha in Modern Family World. You can find the fanfic title and the original author's name on my Patreon page. Make sure to check it out and show them some love. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Quick update. What If Reborn as Gohan in future timeline will be going on hold soon, since we've nearly caught up with the author. So now, I need your help picking the next project for the channel. I'm currently deciding between these three fanfics. What if Transmigrated in One Piece and becoming a Marine? What if Ichigo awoke his powers to save his mother? What if Transmigrated into a nightmare mode Dragon Ball world? Please vote in the poll and let me know which story you'd like to see next. I'll take the top pick and start working on that as the series next. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. Alright, let's jump into it. Chapter 11, Dinner, Part 2. The California sky darkened as the sun was setting. The children who were playing outside of the Dunphys' house entered their house, face full of elation and sweats. Not only the child, but the adults had the same expression on their face. Well, one of them did. Phil, why are you all sweaty? You know what, both you and Luke will go wash up. Dinner is almost ready. Claire was a bit surprised as she laid eyes on her husband and father. Jay had an angry scowl on his face, while Phil was full of smiles despite them being totally sweaty and exhausted. Dad, you and Manny too. Claire commanded, not caring at all about her angry father. Ay Pepito, did you have fun? Gloria asked, dapping a handkerchief on Manny's forehead to remove the sweats. I did, Mom. Ed is really fun, Manny said with a bright smile on his face. He's a good teacher too, Manny added. Holding a ball in his hand, Luke said, yeah. I wish he was my coach. All my coach did was ask us to have fun. And that isn't good? Claire said in a concerned tone while crossing her arms. I want to have fun too. But I also want to defeat the other team, Luke replied. Claire nodded slightly and pushed Luke into the bathroom. Ed? Claire turned to the boy who'd just entered the house. What? I'm sorry that Luke hit a vase, but I'd already fixed it, I replied as I watched the complicated expression on Claire's face. You're fine, Claire said dismissively, making me a bit confused. Why you don't sweat like the others did? Gloria asked in a teasing manner with one hand on her waist, another holding a cucumber. Why would a coach ever sweat? I replied with a sly smile on my face. A smile that made Jay, who'd just returned from cleaning up, increased in temper. He only shouted the order, we did all the running, Jay complained, plus whining as he used a clean cloth to wipe down his wet face. Gloria laughed at his misery while Claire chuckled at Jay as he started to rant. I thought you liked playing with Phil. I saw you break into a wide smile a few times. You even have that innocent childlike laughter with you. I poured some oil into the flames I was on. I also made sure Phil was within earshot as I said that. Really, Jay? I loved playing with you. We should do that. Phil was touched and on the brink of tearing up. He tried to hug Jay with his sweaty body, but Jay turned to me and started to rant angrily. Don't speak nonsense. The only time I had a smile on my face was when the practice was over. Jay then stomped off to his car to take a clean cloth he kept in his car trunk and to get away from the emotional Phil. Wow. You're brave, aren't you? Making fun of my dad like that. Usually boys will be scared and quake in their boots in front of him, Claire complimented while holding a glass of wine in her hand. Jay? He's a big teddy bear. He's not scary at all, I said as I washed my hand and cleaned up a bit for dinner. You're in big trouble. I don't think he will let this matter go so easily, Manny said as he got back from cleaning up. That's okay. It's not like I will meet him again after this, I said while rubbing Manny's head. This feels nice, I muttered as I kept rubbing his head. And expensive. Manny said and swatted my hand away. We laughed together and sat in front of the TV with Luke while the adults were preparing for dinner. I'd offered to help, but Claire and Gloria rejected my offer and asked me to rest. It was fun talking to the boys. We quickly became friends. I talked with Manny and Luke for a while, and finally, the dinner was ready. Sitting in front of me was Manny, and Luke sat on my right side. On my left was Alex. Hello again. Why is it so hard to meet you in your own home? I asked the hairband-wearing girl teasingly. Shut up. Don't talk to me, Alex said while complaining inwardly because of the seating arrangement. Haley sat in front of Alex, smirking at her sister because of her misery. Really? Even after we fell for each other before? I asked in an innocent voice. Alex's jaw dropped, while Claire, who sat nearby, froze while picking up a bowl of salad from the table. We fall on the ground, not fall for each other, Alex said begrudgingly. Claire commentary. Oh my god, what have I done? Did I just really invite a hormonal teen into my house and serve my kids toward him on a silver platter? Claire said in a panicked voice. Beside her, Phil laughed at the statement. Claire. They are just kids. Besides, Edward was only playing around. It's normal for a boy his age to want to tease girls. I did that too before. You don't know that, Phil, Claire said anxiously. Besides, even if they dated, it wouldn't be the most terrible thing in the world, Phil continued. However, Claire glared at him, prompting him to stop. My little baby, Claire said in a soft voice while reminiscing about Alex growing up. Jay and Gloria commentary. He's a wonderful boy. So mature, and so polite. Gloria complimented heavily while gesturing with her arms. He's a bit like Manny, and also Luke. He could also be said as the combination of those two, Jay said gruffly. Stop pouting. Gloria smacked Jay's shoulder and said. You can play with Phil again later. I'm not pouting. The kid is telling lies. I am not looking forward to playing again with Phil. Not now. Not ever. Commentary ends. Yeah, Edward. You fall together, not fall for each other, Claire said in a decisive manner. I shrugged and continued eating the chicken. By the way, Daya, the band that you auditioned for before, they said you can come play with them if you want, Haley said. Audition? Why does he need to audition? That statement unexpectedly came from Alex, causing me to be confused and turn to look at her face. He's nominated for the Global Child Prodigy Award in the music category at the age of 7. He won multiple awards in various competitions, whether it's school level or state level. How dumb were the people in this band to reject a person as capable as him into their group? The group stopped what they were doing and turned their attention into the conversation. I smiled at Alex, causing her to blush and avoiding my gaze. I don't know you're my fan, I teased. Shut up. I'm not. Well, not now, Alex replied as she continued eating, pretending that I wasn't next to her. The adults started to interject in the kids' conversation, getting away from their own. What? Really? Gloria asked with widened eyes. Ed? Phil asked. That's true. All of it was before my downfall, though. Now, my skills have deteriorated, I answered honestly. Haley's eyes shook as she understood the situation. If you're so skillful, why do you want to join an upstart band? You can just be a member of the orchestra or something, Haley said in a shaky voice. Inside, she cursed Brian and her girlfriend for making the band accept them and not Edward. She knew how serious Dylan was with his band, and Edward could have brought the band to new heights. Now, the opportunity was wasted. Can we not get into the subject? That's a sore topic for me, and I don't want to relive that life, I replied while I cleaned my mouth with the napkin. Phil grabbed my shoulder, passing by Alex in the seat placement. Okay. We will not get into that topic. Haley, you should stop it too. Phil said using a soft tone. He didn't need a band now. He does well on his own. Luke said. Claire nodded, that's true. What are you talking about? Jay asked. That kid, he's a wonderful singer. Phil, Luke, Haley, and I watched his show yesterday. Claire explained. Gloria clapped her hand in excitement. A star. No. Not a star. I quickly interjected. I did get called back to play tomorrow, but I have no transportation to get there, so I guess this is the end of my career dash. Nonsense. I will bring you to the cafe. Phil offered without thinking. I pumped my fist in my mind as I managed to secure the guardian and the transportation. You sing? Alex asked, feeling a bit dejected that she didn't come to the show yesterday. A little bit. I will do a private concert, just for you later. I said using a whisper. Shut up. Stop teasing me. Alex yelled while whispering to avoid her mother hearing the invitation. After dinner, Phil brought out the dessert. Finally. I'd been waiting for this. Luke said in excitement, pumping his fist in the air as the giant Oreo was placed in the middle of the table. What's this? Haley asked. Oreo cheesecake. I made it myself. I replied. Wait, how many people are there? Phil said while holding a knife. He then counted the people inside the room one by one. 9 people. So, how do I cut it? Phil said. Just cut it into 10 pieces. 1 sliver will be kept for the hungry one later at night. I replied. Yeah, so how, to cut into 10? I sighed and picked up the knife from Phil. First, I cut the cake into a wide X shape. Then, I cut it once through the narrow X, and twice on the wide X shape, making 10 pieces of the same sized cake. Done. Nice job, Ed. Phil said as he used a knife to pick up a piece for Claire. It was the piece that was taken a spoonful off before. This is yours. You already touched it before. Phil said teasingly. This is really good. Did you make it yourself? Manny asked excitedly as he took a spoonful of the cake. I did. It isn't too sweet, right? I asked. No. It's fine. Jay replied indifferently. Jay commentary. It was delicious. But I'm not giving the little liar the satisfaction. Commentary ends. The last piece is mine. Luke demanded, and ran away while holding the last piece of the cake. Never. Phil yelled and tried to capture Luke a few times, but Luke made a fake out, causing Phil to fall to the floor. Luke! Claire yelled in astonishment as she watched her son and husband being frivolous. The cake is good. Can you teach me the recipe? Gloria asked. Of course, I will. I replied. Will you play a few songs for us? Manny asked curiously. He'd been wondering about the songs I played since dinner time. I don't have my instruments with me, but you can come see me in my show tomorrow night. I said. Sure. Can we go, Mom? Manny replied and turned to Gloria. Of course, Poppy. Gloria said. Jay sighed as he would be the one to drive into the cafe tomorrow. We have a piano. Luke interjected, face full of cream from the cake. Claire ran toward him with a napkin and wiped his mouth ruthlessly. Edward, it's okay. You don't have to play if you don't want to. Claire said. I don't mind. But I can only do a few songs with the piano. Is that okay? I asked. It's okay. Manny replied. We changed location to the living room near the fireplace. I played the song 7 years with the piano, and turned to see their reaction. Wonderful. Gloria applauded, her chest jiggled with every clap. It's really great. Manny complimented. Jay was silent as he was thrown into nostalgia after he heard the song. The songs were like his conversation with his dad while he was growing up. He couldn't help but feel a bit emotional after hearing the song. "Jay, are you okay?" I asked after seeing him being silent. "I am going to go home now," Jay said and walked right out the door. Gloria and Manny became flustered and decided to follow Jay home after apologizing to me and thanking me for the song and the cake. With her arms crossed, Claire asked, "Did you really do that?" "Do what exactly?" I asked. "Drinking burning liquor. Smoking herbs. That's slang for marijuana, isn't it?" I was stunned by the sudden development. "Alex, what happens when you burn alcohol?" I turned to Alex to try and dig my way out of the predicament I'm in. "Only water will be left?" she replied in confusion. I turned to Claire and said, "See? It's just a play on words." The mother breathed in relief. She then asked, "The herb?" "I don't know what the adults smoke, so I thought it was some kind of herb." I lied obviously, but it seemed to trick Claire and Phil, and that was all I needed. "It was tobacco." Phil tried to explain, but Claire shut his mouth with her palm. "See? I told you he is a good kid," Phil said in a whisper to Claire after getting her hand off. The dinner time was finally over, and I was going to go home, but instead, I got into another argument with Haley as I hung out with the siblings in the living room. "Now that you're back to normal, there's a party at Andrew Adler's this Saturday if you want to come," Haley said, pretending to not care about me coming or not. "Nah, I'm fine. Why are you being so rude? Aren't you getting back with your friends now that you're back to normal?" Haley said in an offended tone. Edward was one of the popular kids in school before my mom and dad got divorced, so I understand her frustration. But I'm not getting back to that life. The answer to that is simple. They weren't my friends in the first place. Friends don't abandon you at the first sight of trouble. You keep saying "back to normal," as if my struggle before doesn't even matter. I am not getting back to the same shallow cliques that I used to be in before. "Are you calling me shallow?" Haley yelled angrily as she became offended by the statement. "And here I thought I'm being kind enough to invite you." "Yup. And also a bit vain," I replied. Alex's eyes darted between the two people, not knowing what to do as the argument became heated. "Kids. What happened?" Phil heard the argument from the kitchen and rushed to the living room. He and Claire were in the kitchen talking before. "You know what, Dad? I will never be friends with someone like him. In fact, I don't even understand why you accepted the invitation to be in my house if you're not wanting to become friends with popular people. Like I said before, vain and shallow." "Wait, I think that's the same thing?" "Anyway, I only came here for Mr. Dunphy and Luke as they had helped me before, not for you," I replied. "Ah." Haley let out an offended gasp and stormed off to her room. "Get out of my house," she yelled from the upper floor. "Gladly," I replied with a smile, causing her to fume in anger. "Erg." She groaned and slammed the door to her room. "So anyway, we will meet at 8:15 tomorrow?" I turned to the stunned Phil to ask for confirmation. "Yeah," Phil replied unconsciously. He wanted to ask about what started the argument as the kids were getting along pretty well before, but he couldn't as I changed the subject. "Great. See you later." I waved goodbye to the family and walked calmly to my house. Chapter 12, Create. Why the hell am I fighting with her, again? I muttered as I walked home. Not regretting my actions much, I hummed a song while walking. I arrived at my house after walking for 2 minutes. I took a shower before changing into my pajamas. Then, I started to plan the rest of my week. I sat on the bed and tracked my activities using my fingers. A show tomorrow. I need to buy a laptop after that. Lily is coming home on Sunday. I don't think I can enter the family gathering, but if I can, I want to see the episode played out by myself. It will also confirm my doubts whether the story will move the way the series does, or will my future knowledge be useless here. I sighed as I laid on the bed, my feet hanging by the edge and touching the floor. I still need to study for the history test on Friday. Damn. I cursed out. It's only 9 o'clock, so I rested for 10 minutes before starting a little side project. I didn't have any assignments for tomorrow, so I could take it easy. I would, however, habitually read for at least an hour before I went to bed. Let's see here. Edna mode on. I muttered as I took out multiple fabrics from the plastic covers. Pepper and Cam are really generous. I ran my fingers through the soft fabrics and multiple outfits designs popped into my mind. There were multiple high-quality fabrics that I could use to create more than 10 outfits for myself. Cam also bought the fabrics to bribe me into a non-disclosure agreement about the baby. He wanted to be there to see the family's reaction, therefore I accepted his bribe. However, the materials weren't suitable for my casual clothes. I could only make outfits for special events or business suits with this one. I had already dug out my mom's rusty sewing machine from the garage and fixed it a bit so that it could run smoothly again. I started cutting the clothes using scissors and sewing them using the old sewing machine. I wanted to create an outfit for my show tomorrow night. My phone suddenly buzzed, distracting me from my focus after sewing for an hour. I picked the phone and found a text from Pepper. He told me that he had just sent Mitch and Cam to the airport, and was wondering if I have time for tomorrow. I texted him back, but he's replying so slowly that I decided to just call him. What's going on? I asked. A few entertainment agencies are trying to contact you. They want to sign you up as one of their own. What are you going to do about it? Pepper asked from the other line. The agencies were all intercepted by his lawyers before they could even contact the artist. I don't want to. At least not now. You can handle them for me, right, Pepper? I asked. The son of an oil magnate was silent for a while as he was thinking about it. Oh well. I will handle your advertisement and albums then. Pepper said decisively. What? I meant rejecting them for me. Hello? Hello? The call was cut off after Pepper drove into a tunnel. What the hell just happened? Pepper never called back and didn't reply to my messages after that. He only texted one, saying he needed to prepare for my debut. I guess I will be a singer then. I muttered flatly. Whatever. It's Newgate's dream to become one. I could play along for a while, and retire before I got into college. Newgate was a music prodigy and wanted to become famous worldwide with his music. However, I know the trouble of getting famous at such an early age. Getting to Hollywood may seem nice on the surface, but it was filled with dirty dealings underneath. Without a proper backing, it would be easy for the upper officials in Hollywood to bury me, both literally and figuratively. My dreams were different from Newgate. The Franzetti dream was to live life without ever having to bow my head at horrible people again. I wanted to build something, but I don't have any money. What a waste of good ability. I muttered. Maybe going dumpster diving like Peter Parker did? Or should I buy some old car and restore it? I muttered. I could sell them for money afterward. But it's not cost effective. I guess. I will make some websites and games to sell. It's only 2009, and the mobile games market was still small. I had learned how to create some small indie games through my studies in my previous life. I think I could create games better than the ones in the market right now. But I'm going to the laptop first. The PC is better, but it will cost too much for me right now. Never once did I think of asking my dad for money to buy the laptop. Not because I was too stubborn and egoistical as I was as an adult before, but it just slipped my mind. Let's see how much money I have now. I reached underneath my bed and pulled out a small brass box. I opened the sealed shut box and finally dove into Newgate's personal savings that he'd collected throughout the years. Collect some money, and then run away from home after you turn 18. A very simple train of thoughts. Rather than living the way the previous me would have intended, I wanted to prepare for the future. $288 in the box. Added with $150 left from the gig money, I will have around $900 tomorrow after singing at the cafe. It's enough for a good stat laptop I needed to start coding. Most of the savings were from my grandparents in Wisconsin. I turned to my phone and went to scroll the iOS App Store. Doodle Jump is already released. I think Angry Birds is in production, so I couldn't make that. I guess maybe Badlands or Temple Run. I can start by creating simple websites and selling them for money. I also needed money for establishing a company, creating a domain name, and many more. I couldn't wantonly create the game and hope that I would become a millionaire from it. What else can I do to make some money? What else? I paced back and forth in my bedroom and fell into a deep thought. Selling new fashion wear is simple enough, but to find the right connection is troubling. It'll be good if I debut first and then start a clothing line. Summer is nearing, so I can sell some summer designs to a few clothing companies, but who in their right mind would deal with a kid? Morning came quickly and I biked to school as usual. Mrs. Henderson called me into her class early in the morning to discuss a few things about my graduation. You're severely lacking in extracurricular activity. I would advise that you join the marching band given your skills in music, but there isn't any empty spot left in the band, Mrs. Henderson said. She pushed the bridge of her glasses up using her left hand and put down the paper containing my academic records. She was wearing a black blouse with a high-waisted pant today, mesmerizing me with her beauty once more. Anything wrong, Mr. Newgate? Mrs. Henderson asked as she saw my expression. Sorry. I am just confused. How did my extracurricular take part again? Mrs. Henderson sighed. She then explained calmly, it won't matter if you're entering the high school here. But after transferring, especially in Wisconsin, I am afraid that you won't be able to adapt to the environment there. Having an extracurricular skill or an area of expertise would help you in adapting. So, you're worried about me? I asked with a teasing smile. Unexpectedly, my homeroom teacher replied, I am. You're not getting any tutoring, and you're not having any friends in school. I am afraid when you transfer, you will stop going to school. I was stunned by the sudden honesty. Why do you care so much anyway? Once I'm gone, I will no longer be your problem. I blurted out. I didn't mean to do that, but the words just slipped out. Mrs. Henderson stood up from her chair and walked to the whiteboard to prepare for today's lesson she will teach the class. She grabbed a whiteboard marker and started to write a few science theories on the board. What do you plan to do in the future, Mr. Newgate? Mrs. Henderson asked with her back against me. I don't know. Be rich, I guess. I replied. I really don't know what I'm going to do here. Dreams are for children's. I was once an adult who'd already buried his dreams as he faced the reality of the world. And being rich will make you happy? She asked again. I became irked by her question. Will being poor make you happy? I said in confrontation. Maybe it will. Maybe it won't. All I know for sure, if I'm with the people I love, I will always be happy, even when going through tough times. Mrs. Henderson turned to face me after finishing writing her lessons. That's a child's dream. Reality didn't work like that. Real world won't stop until they beat you down and take everything you'd ever love. I don't think you're that naive, Mrs. Henderson. I replied with venom in my voice. But you're still a child. Mrs. Henderson said calmly. What's the use of being a child you don't dare to dream? I was left speechless by her words. The school bell rang before I could argue again. The first period was starting, therefore the conversation here was over. Go to your class, Mr. Newgate. I will see you later, Mrs. Henderson said. I nodded and rushed to my class for today. I couldn't focus on the class that day, therefore I laid down my head on the table and stared at the window outside. After thinking for a while, I decided to not let the conversation bother me. Jacob, the potato boy, tapped on my shoulder after the class was over. Ed. Next class is English class. Let's go. Sure. We walked to the next class before a sudden gust of wind raged inside the school hallways. What the hell was that? Jacob yelled out after being surprised by the wind. He turned to see me with a piece of flyer stuck on my face after the wind blew the paper across the halls. I picked up the piece of paper from my face and saw what was written on it. Chess tournament? First price $500. That's nice. I muttered flatly and decided to crumple the paper into a ball and threw it into a garbage bin nearby. Aren't you joining the tournament? Jacob asked a stupid question. Why would I? I replied. I don't know. It seems like fate is calling you. After all, the paper didn't stick to anyone else's face but you. Jacob teased. We went to the cafeteria to have lunch after English class. I saw Alex sitting alone in the cafeteria after I picked up a tray of food. The lunch in the school was disgusting, but I didn't have anyone else to blame except myself for not making some sandwiches this morning. Sup? I approached Alex's table and sat in front of her casually. She widened her eyes as I came to sit with her. Jacob quickly turned his steps and retreated from the table as he saw I was sitting with a girl. He was a nice kid, but his social skills were below zero. He would freeze when he wanted to talk to girls in the school. What are you doing here? Alex asked. She usually used her lunchtime to read instead of hanging out with other girls, not that she didn't want to talk and have fun, but she didn't have any close friends. I'm eating. What else? Are you sure you're smart? Or you're just another pretty face? I said with an innocent look on my face. Alex was flustered and she quickly controlled her tone to become a bit haughty. If you want to sit, then sit. I don't care. Which TV show did you learn that dialogue from? That should be used when I asked if I could sit here, not after I'd already Saturday. I laughed at her pitiful attempt to show that she didn't care about sitting with someone. Don't tease me. Why are you always teasing me? Alex asked in frustration. Why else? I think you're pretty awesome, and I would like to become your friend. I replied honestly. She was stunned by the sudden confession and lowered her head. Is that really it? Or are you doing so to make Haley mad again? Alex asked in distrust. Having a popular older sister, it wasn't the first time a boy wanted to use her to get close to her sister. In the end, she was just a tool for the boys to get to know Haley. She kept her guard up and waited for the answer with a heavy beating heart. Honestly, I don't care about Haley. She's pretty, but she's not my type. I replied with a sly smirk. If ranked, I like Luke and Phil, then Claire, then Manny and Gloria, then Jay, and lastly Haley. Oh. I wasn't ranked? Alex asked. You're between Claire and Phil. It's a bit high, but not the first one. I said. By the way, the food today is disgusting. I said as I took a bit of the brown sludge on my food tray. Alex smiled and started to reply casually, I think I saw the lunch lady drop her wig in there. She did pick it back up, but you may find a couple of dash. Okay. I'm done. I said and pushed the tray toward her. She closed her book and laughed after finally winning in the argument for once. A popular girl at school, Jenna Mackenzie walked to the cafeteria with her group of entourage. She then saw Edward sitting with Alex and laughing together from afar. He's the one from YouTube, right? Jenna asked. The blonde-haired popular girl wore a miniskirt and an almost see-through blouse. Most of the boys in the school would drool when they saw her. Yes. His songs now have passed 100,000 views. Many commented for him to audition in an entertainment agency or just debut already. An African-American follower of the popular girl briefed Jenna about the situation. In the teenagers' lives, popularity was everything for them. Jenna had never been single since she was 9 years old, and had lost her virginity at 12. Now, she's stalking for her new prey to become an accessory for her popular life in school. I like him. He's going to be mine. Jenna said as she pointed at Edward. Omniscient POV. Mrs. Henderson was marking the assignments on her desk. A male teacher knocked on the door and said, "Henderson, it's lunchtime. Take a break." "I'm okay," Mrs. Henderson replied, not looking up from her desk. The male teacher shrugged his shoulders and walked away, disappointed that the beautiful teacher didn't accept his invitation once more. Alone in the classroom, Mrs. Henderson held Edward's academic transcript in her hand. She then muttered, "He's a tough one. Your son. I wonder if it's really worth it to make a dreamless person into an afterlife agent." Chapter 13, Bad Luck Day. "So, are we friends now?" I asked. "We are," Alex replied, blushing a little. I took back my phone from her hand. She'd just finished entering her phone number inside. A few tables away, Jacob's jaw just dropped after he saw his friend easily ask a girl for her phone number. With his mouth open, his sandwich fillings also fell from his mouth without him realizing it. "But text me inappropriate things, I will block you," Alex warned. "You look cute when you try to seem menacing," I teased. I smiled at her, causing her to avoid my gaze, face full of disbelief. "What did I just say?" Alex tried to be menacing again. I laughed at her face, causing her to become sullen. As we were talking, I heard clicking sounds of high heels from behind coming toward me, but I ignored them. It's not the first time someone tried to talk to me today, and I didn't think it would be the last. Jenna was confused when I didn't turn to face her even when she was standing behind me. "He must not know I'm here," she thought. "Hey Edward," she called flirtatiously. However, I didn't turn to the source of the voice. "Hey Alex. You're taking cello lessons, right?" I asked. Alex's eyes shook as she could see the popular girls' cliques from her sitting position. Jenna tilted her head in confusion as I didn't turn even when I was called. "Want me to teach you? I'm a pro at that," I offered. "Did you not hear me calling for you?" Jenna said, her voice carried a trace of anger even when she's smiling. I finally responded. I glanced at the girl and asked in a cold tone, "What?" Jenna flinched, and her hand moved to cover her chest. It was the first time in her life that a boy showed such disinterest in her. Why is he suddenly so hot? Jenna thought, biting her lower lips. He was SOSO before. She finally allowed her eyes to study the boy's face closely now. His chiseled jaw, his striking green eyes, and the most attractive one for her amongst all, his hair. "You." Her entourage started to get mad for her. Jenna stopped them from moving forward with a halt of her palm. She smiled and sat extremely close to the boy, almost leaning at my body. "You don't remember me? I sat near you in English." Jenna flirted while touching her hair, swirling the curly end of her hair with her fingers. "So?" I asked coldly. I had a hunch about why she wanted to talk to me, but honestly, I wasn't interested, especially a 14-year-old girl. "Nothing. I just want to ask you something." Jenna quickly changed the subject. She didn't know why, but right now, the boy was incredibly desirable. She couldn't wait for the day he'll submit to her charms. "I think you're really cute. Will you go out with me?" "No," I replied curtly and proceeded to turn my face toward Alex again. I was confused when Alex had the same expression on her face as Jacob, and almost all the kids sitting nearby the table. Their mouths opened wide, and they were in disbelief at what just happened. Jenna's face froze while she was still smiling. She couldn't understand what just happened. "What?" "Ed Newgate, Jenna is talking to you," Alex said hurriedly in a meek voice. As a member of the bottom in the hierarchy in the school, it was ingrained in the personality of a member of this level to always treat the popular girl's word as a commandment. Jenna turned to Alex after hearing what she said. "Wait. You're a girl? I thought you're a boy." She glanced at Alex's flat chest and then she let out a short laugh. Compared to her bodacious body, the girl in front of her didn't seem much of a threat. She looked at Alex, then at Edward. She's not your girlfriend, is she? Jenna asked while hinting at Alex to leave. I'm not. Newgate. Don't talk to me so casually. Bye. Alex quickly grabbed her books and ran away to the next class. I tried to stop her, but Jenna hugged my arm and whispered into my ears. I could feel her body heat and her braless chest clinging to my arm. I don't think you heard me correctly before. I'm asking you out. Jenna whispered seductively before she released my arm. I've hit you with my best shot. You've basically got to second base now. Say yes, and I'm yours. Jenna thought. Okay then, since you're asking for it. Lend me your ear. I showed an embarrassed smile and gestured for her to get near. Jenna squealed in happiness before she slowly moved her head closer to mine. I placed my mouth next to her ear, and saw that she was gripping the edge of her clothes tightly while biting her lower lips at the same time. Fuck off, you worn-out burlap sack. Stay the fuck away from me. I whispered in a sweet tone before I left the table. I wanted to call Jacob, but I found out that the guy had already retreated to safety a long time ago. Third-person POV. Jenna, are you okay? The pixie-cut, African-American girl, who wore a green tank top with a jacket and short pants, asked in concern after she saw Jenna still frozen in her seat even after Edward had left and the bell had rung. All the kids had already gone to the classroom, but the popular girl cliques were still at the cafeteria. All the other girls had gone to class, leaving only her and Jenna in the cafeteria. Elsa, that really happened, right? Jenna asked. Don't worry, Jenna, Newgate is an overrated little bitch dash. He's so fucking hot. Jenna screamed in excitement. What the fuck dash, Elsa exclaimed in bewilderment as she thought her friend had gone crazy. I need him. He's mine. Let's go. Jenna said, leading her cliques to the classroom. Find out about the girl he's with. Who's she and what's their relationship? Jenna ordered. Nah. Don't. That girl is not to be messed with. Elsa said quickly. Jenna turned to her friend who's been following her from behind. Why? Are you crazy? That's Haley's sister. Don't you remember the last girl that tried to mess with her sister? Elsa said with fear in her tone. Really? Haley, huh? Jenna narrowed her eyes. She became frustrated and started to bite her nail. They didn't know each other until this week. She's not important. Elsa said. Really? Jenna brightened up. Yes. If you really want Newgate, he'll be yours. Don't worry about it. Elsa said. I believe you. Jenna said, and then she entered the English class, the same class Edward was having right now. She ignored the balding male teacher who's teaching the class and stood next to Jacob, who's sitting next to Edward. Will you move? Jenna asked nicely. Jacob quickly stored his stuff and changed his seat to the ones behind Edward without even denying the popular girl's request even once. That potato bitch. Edward cursed his traitorous friend. Hi, Edward. Jenna greeted shyly and continued making eyes at Edward during the entire class session. Elsa stared at her friend in wonder. Did she really lose her mind? Dunphy's house. Haley was laughing madly at the gossip circulating amongst the children in the town. She asked a gay kid to be her boyfriend. Haley couldn't stop herself from laughing until her stomach hurt. Alex finally arrived home after her cello lesson and entered their shared room. What are you laughing about? Alex said with a grimacing face as if allergic to Haley's happiness. Do you know what happened at your school cafeteria today? Haley asked, face full of excitement. Alex suddenly became guarded and asked, what did you hear? Apparently a popular girl's confession was shut down by the arrogant bastard Newgate. She'd made a fool of herself, ha ha ha. Haley laughed again. Alex asked, really? That's it? Yeah. Why? Do you know something more? Haley asked, face full of anticipation. She leaned forward to hear what Alex was going to say more clearly. Nothing else was mentioned? Maybe the friend Edward was sitting with? Alex asked sarcastically. Haley turned to her phone and rechecked the message. No. I don't think so. They only said he was sitting with a boy. Alex rolled her eyes and quickly became disinterested in the conversation. Oh yeah. Mom is going to the cafe tonight to follow Dad. She is bringing all of us with her. Alex said. What? No. I'm not going. Haley tried to object. Don't tell me, tell Mom. She's downstairs. Alex said without looking at Haley and opening her books to do her homeworks. Moom. Haley called out and rushed outside. Mom had left 5 minutes ago to go to the mall. With her searching for Mom, I think I'll have 1 hour of peace and silence to study. From afar, Alex heard Haley call out, Moom. Well. Maybe peace. Alex mumbled as she shrugged her shoulders. Moom. Haley yelled out louder than before. Edward POV. Finally the day is over. Edward sighed as he cycled back home using his bike. That girl's brain couldn't comprehend the meaning of the word no. After I got home, I texted Alex asking if she was fine, but she didn't reply to any of my texts. I sighed and placed my bag on my desk table as I entered my room. I got cleaned and continued sewing my outfit for the show. I don't think I will get it done in time. I may have Edna's talent, but it was my first time sewing after all. It's a shame as I'm almost done with it too. I muttered as I picked up the brown jacket I'm currently sewing. The doorbell rang at 6 o'clock in the evening. I opened the front door to see Luke and Phil already dressed and ready for the showing tonight. You know the show's not till 9, right? I asked. We know. We're just here to see if there's anything we can help you with, to get ready for the show. Phil replied. I'm just here for more cakes. Luke said. I rubbed his head and said, you shouldn't eat that every day. It's unhealthy. The kid grimaced, but he nodded obediently. Manny called. He said he will be sure to come. Phil said as they were invited inside the house. Manny would come to the show with his new stepdad Jay and his mother Gloria. I turned to see where Luke went, but he'd disappeared. Luke? Where are you? Phil asked. I'm using the toilet. Luke replied from afar. Luke went straight to the fridge and opened it up without an ounce of shame and raiding another family's fridge. Jackpot. Luke muttered as he saw a whole Oreo cheesecake inside the fridge. He sneaked the cake out of the fridge and into his clothes. Dad, I forgot something at home. I will come back later. Luke said to Phil from afar before he ran to his house. I was confused by Luke's action, but I had more important things to focus on now. My phone started ringing. I saw the names Steven and Stefan on the screen and picked it up quickly. The cafe owner was calling, but I'm not sure why. I'm sorry, Edward. But there's a small fire in the cafe. It'll need to be shut down until the weekends. The voice from the other line said. What? Seriously? I asked. Is anyone hurt? No. The fire didn't spread out too much. The firefighters are here. I then heard the owners giggling as they greeted the firefighters in their burned-down cafe at this moment. Ah, the firefighters in this town have a reputation of being hot. The facts helped me to understand why the owners of the cafe were still happy even when their store was burned down. After talking with the owners for a while, I sighed and told Phil about the incident. Oh. That's too bad. We're really looking forward to hearing you play again. Phil said as he put his hand on my shoulder to comfort me. It's okay. I'll have another chance. By the way, can I ask you a question? Do you know a place where I can get a laptop for $400? I said sadly. I remember the flyer that was stuck on my face in school today. The chess tournament was at 3 o'clock in the evening, and it took place at the school, therefore I only needed to register with a teacher to enter. My opponents would only be middle school students. With the knowledge from the gacha, there wouldn't be any challenges for me to win. I could have gotten the $500 cash prize. I muttered sadly. Phil drove me to a second-hand electronics store that was rated highly in this town. He also had some contacts in this particular area, therefore I managed to score a used, 2009 released HP laptop in my price range. This'll have to do, I said as I thanked the storekeeper after I made my purchase. It's great, right? The laptop is practically new, Phil said guiltily. Doesn't matter if it's new. It had spent almost 15 minutes on a naked astronaut's private parts. I feel dirty just touching it. Phil was helpless in cheering me up. I think I will just have dinner and cheer myself up with some cakes. Thanks again, Vitamin P, for bringing me around. Vitamin P? Phil widened his eyes as he heard it. Yeah. My nickname for you, I replied with a smile. Phil's commentary. It's happening, Phil screamed while sitting on the sofa. From afar, Claire's voice can be heard. What happened? Phil turned to Claire's direction and yelled, Nothing, honey. The commentary restarted. This time, Phil spoke calmly. It's finally happening. Me and Edward are moving to the next level. It's worth it with me keeping it real with him. In a gangster accent, you know what I'm saying? Phil paused for a while. Now, if he marries one of my daughters, it will be perfect. Luke's commentary. I ate a whole cake, just by myself. Haley's commentary. I feel bad that his gig had been cancelled, but he deserved it. That's what you get when you mess with Haley Dunphy, Haley said seriously. She then realized what she said and quickly explained, I didn't start the fire. Alex's commentary. He kept texting me. Erg. What should I do? How do I even respond to him? I've taken so long to text back, and now it will be weird if I text him. Manny and Gloria's commentary. Manny said, I was looking forward to watching him play again. His songs resonated with me. Poppy, don't be sad. Gloria comforted her son. I'm not sad, Mom. I called Edward later that night, and I will be going to his house on Saturday. He had agreed to teach me more about soccer. I.e. my Poppy finally has a friend, Gloria said while hugging her son. When you said it like that, it seems like I had no other friends, Mom. Jay's commentary. I'll never admit it to Gloria, but I was looking forward to going to the cafe. I also think the fire is retribution for his lies. Ha ha ha. Ah, the kid will be fine. Claire's commentary. I think something is going on with the girls. I need to find out what. Luke was walking behind Claire staggeringly as he's experiencing the sugar crash after eating a whole cake by himself. Hey Mom. The room is spinning, Luke called out from the stairs. Then, he fell down after taking 2 steps up the stairs. Luke. Claire turned to Luke and rushed toward him quickly. Commentary ends. After I got my laptop, I started to study about my dad's business model and his current advertising plans. What do you mean you only advertise in the pier? I asked in disbelief during breakfast with my dad the next morning. Well, that's where people go to sail, right? Sometimes they call first. I put some banners at the pier to let people know. Ted replied calmly, not knowing why I was so surprised after hearing about his business. No wonder your business is doomed, I blurted out. Ted froze and dropped the bacon from his fork as he was stunned by the sudden criticism. Chapter 14, Pilot begins. Edward POV. The problem with Ted's business wasn't his skill in seafaring or the condition of his ship. The problem was a lack of customers and an outdated business model. I'm going to create a website for your business. I need you to get me your business details, registration, etc. so that I can create a credit card payment system online. Isn't that dangerous? What if hackers break into the system? They can steal every credit card detail registered there. Ted expressed his concern. Please. My system will be even more secure than the bank's system nowadays. I played around last night, and if I wanted to, I could shut down the Department of Traffic in the town and let the city fall under chaos. But I didn't do that as I wouldn't want to get a record if, by any miraculous chance, someone knew I did it. Not at all. Don't worry about the website's defense. Leave it all to me. But I'm going to need some money to get started. I said and asked for Ted's credit card. He reluctantly gave me his credit card after I repeatedly emphasized to him the benefits of moving his company into the digital age before his competitors. You'll get more party-addicted young models in your ship from now on as they are the main target for online tickets. I see this as nothing but a win for you. I teased. Not giving up on trying to make me hook up with the models I see. Ted played along. Ted listened to my ideas and explanations without interjecting much. I could see that the numbers, bombs, and theories were too much for him. Therefore I decided to guide him slowly. How do you know about this stuff? Ted expressed his shock. Who is this kid in front of me? When did Ed become so smart? Ted thought secretly as he looked at me with wary eyes. Dad. It's the 21st century. People can learn everything through the internet nowadays. I lied. I only used my knowledge from the companies I had worked with in my past life and implemented them into my dad's business. Ted was a bona fide sailor. In his 20s, he traveled the world through the seas. His experience visiting exotic land was plenty, and he always had some stories to tell his customers buying tickets for his ship. He could still stay in business because most of his customers were recurring customers and loved getting aboard his ship. Most of his skills were on seafaring, with only a little bit on business matters. There will be a hard few months in front of you because of the changes. But, it'll be better than selling your ship. How about it, Dad? Do you want to try it? I asked. Ted walked closer and pulled me into his embrace suddenly. I was shocked by the sudden action, but I didn't push him away when I heard his following words. Thank you for thinking of me, Ed. I will try to build my business back up, so we don't have to move. I don't care about that, I said casually, causing Ted to be confused. Didn't you learn all this stuff, so we don't have to move to Wisconsin? Ted asked. Nah. I am doing this cause it's pretty stupid for your business to be bankrupt just because you don't know how to run it. I said sarcastically. Ted was stunned and wanted to defend himself, but he couldn't find the words to do it. He sighed, smiled softly at his son, and said, Sure. That's the reason. I was weirded out by his sudden change, but I didn't say anything as his change was helping me to help him. I will also create a program to schedule your trips more efficiently. That way, you don't have to stay in the marina all day long while waiting for the customer to come. I said and showed him the UI design of the website that I sketched on a piece of paper. Give me 3 days, I said confidently to my dad before getting to school. Take a lot of pics of your trips, ship space, and facilities. I am going to need it. Okay. I will rent a digital camera for it. Ted said. I stared at him with distrust in my eyes. This is the number of community college teachers teaching photography as a subject. Call him and ask for a list of students that took that course in the last few years. Let them take pictures of your ship and everything else I want. If they do their job well, you should hire them to be the official photographer for your party. Ted seemed anxious, so I added, just say it's for an internship if you don't want to pay them. You can even reach an agreement with their lecturer for that. I see, Ted replied hesitatingly. There's nothing more intoxicating for the rich people who get on board your ship than taking pictures of their wealth and rubbing it into their friends' faces. A photographer's service will bring many rich people on board your ship. I said reassuringly. Before I left, I said in a solemn tone, Dad. You really should find someone to run the business with you. You can't do all of this alone. I will try, Ted replied with a wry smile. Now that I have my laptop, I plan to create a few websites and games to sell, but first, I will help my dad stabilize his current situation. Although I was consistently bothered at school by the slutty stalker, I managed to end the day peacefully. Some of the boys in love with Jenna wanted to cause some trouble with me, but with Jacob standing at my side, no one dared to come forward. If only they knew that the potato kid was a coward who would run away at the first sight of trouble. I felt dejected as I didn't meet with Alex today. It's as if she was hiding from me. I was looking forward to being her friend, but she didn't feel the same way. Before I went home, I saw Claire sitting in her minivan in front of the school. She had just picked up Luke and was waiting for Alex to exit the school. I walked by and greeted her and Luke. "Hello, Mrs. Dunphy." "Edward, hi. Sorry to hear about the fire," Claire said, trying to empathize with my situation, but her expression seemed insincere even when she really was. "It's okay. The owners have recommended me to a few live music cafes in the area, so I will have more opportunities in the future," I replied. "Good for you. Also, I'm really sorry that Luke stole your dessert," Claire said casually. I widened my eyes and turned to Luke, sitting in the back seat. "That was you." I was surprised by the sudden piece of information. You don't know?" Claire said, looking guiltily as she turned at Luke and then at me. "I thought my dad brought it to work. I billed him $50 this morning because he didn't tell me about it. He said he didn't, and we had a big fight." "Oh, my God. I am so sorry." Claire was highly flabbergasted when she heard it. Of course, I lied. I was just messing with her and Luke. "Edward. I'm sorry. I didn't think it through. I will never steal a cake from your house again, despite how delicious, and creamy, and very delicious dash." "Okay, stop." Claire scolded her son. "You need to make this right, Luke. I told you to apologize to him last night, but you didn't. You won't even get a piece of the dessert for a month." Luke was shocked, but he didn't object to the punishment. Claire turned to me and said, "I will pay you for the cake. I will also explain the matter to your father." "That's okay. My dad and I had already made up. We blamed it on the raccoons instead. Now I know who the raccoon was. I will make sure to put locks on the fridge when Luke comes and visits." "Wait. You're not mad?" Luke asked. "Nah. It was a mistake made in a moment of weakness. I can understand it, but don't do it again. Okay?" Okay. Luke replied. "We're still friends?" Luke asked. "Yeah. We are," I said with a sincere smile. "That's very kind of you, Edward," Claire said, hiding her disbelief. "You know what, I'm going to bake a cake this Sunday. I will make an extra one for you," Claire offered. "Can I watch how it gets made? I do like baking and making desserts," I asked. Claire thought for a while and replied as if she had no choice, "Okay. Sunday morning. 10 a.m. Come by the house." "It's a date," I replied before I cycled away. "No. It's not a date," Claire shouted from afar, but I ignored her. Claire's commentary. Sitting on the sofa in her blue blouse and hair let loose, Claire fidgeted with her fingers as she spoke. "Okay. He's a nice kid. He's very understanding too. After the dinner, I thought he was interested in Alex." Claire's eyes turned troubled. "But he is more interested in me?" Commentary ends. Third-party POV. After Edward moved away from the SUV, Alex finally entered the car, stealthily, like a ninja. "Arg!" Luke yelled in surprise when Alex suddenly opened the car door. "Don't make a noise. Be still," Alex said in frustration. "Alex, when did you become a kidnapper?" Claire asked. Alex ignored the remark and closed the car door quickly. "Why did Edward come here? Did he ask why I didn't text him back? What did he say?" Alex asked hurriedly. Claire widened her eyes in surprise. You guys are texting each other? She asked inquisitively. Are you guys dating? Luke asked. No. Alex replied hurriedly. He asked me to be his friend yesterday and asked for my number. He texted me, but I didn't reply yet. That's it. Alex explained after she knew she didn't have a way out after unconsciously blurting out the information. I don't want to meet him until I know how to explain why I don't text him back, Alex said. That will be quite difficult, Claire said. Why? Alex asked knowingly. Because Mom invited him to our house on Sunday, Luke interjected as he laughed at Alex's misery. M.O.M. Alex called out in horror. Claire's commentary. I was wrong. He's using me to get close to Alex. Not in a million years. But I cannot cancel on Sunday, damn it. Edward POV. After I got home, I threw myself into building the website. It was fun to return to my previous job as I was working in easy mode this time. The bad thing was there were only so many shared codes I could find. So I need to build my own code from scratch. I spent the whole afternoon building the website, payment system, and online booking. I also need to create some adverts online. It will help trick susceptible customers into buying things they don't need. I could run the ads legally and illegally, but as my father's business was legit, I needed to run the ads the legal way. The illegal ways will consist more of virus-type ads, like the hot MILF in your area ads that will pop out at random sites. On Saturday, Manny came to play at my house. Gloria and Jay came too, but only to drop Manny over here. They then went to the mall after telling Manny they would come to pick him up in an hour. I kept fixing the state of the house slowly throughout the week, and it looked much better now that I was almost done. The forest in the backyard was removed, and I planted some sunflowers near the picket fence. It would bloom in the summer, but I wouldn't be able to enjoy it as much as I would in my grandpa's ranch at that time. Manny. Vamos. I said as I called him to the backyard. I am thinking out loud here, but we can play the other game I bought, not foot soccer, Manny said as he stood at the back door. Empire? That'll be good too. Or we can play chess. My father has the set in his room. Manny became smug after chess was mentioned. You might be good at soccer, but I'm great at chess. I played it with my mom all the time. Okay. We'll play chess, but after, we'll practice for a little while. I said. Why? Manny asked in confusion. I stared at his bulging belly and said, no reason. I just want to sweat a little bit. Although confused, Manny did practice his play before we played chess. As expected, I beat him in all 10 games we played. How are you so good? I could win against my mom 3 out of 10 times, but I couldn't win against you once. I saw him become increasingly frustrated, so I smirked and said, do you want to play one more time? This time, I'll play with my left hand to give you a handicap. Okay. Manny beamed up in excitement. He felt something was weird, but he was too excited to care about it as he wanted to win against me at least once. After 5 more games, Jay and Gloria returned to the house to pick up Manny. I.e. Poppy, what's wrong? Why are you so sad? Gloria said as she saw a sullen Manny. It turns out I'm not that good at chess, Mom, Manny whined. I lost 15 times against Edward. And he gave me a handicap in the last 5 matches. Handicap? How? Jay asked. He played with his left hand. Wait a minute. Manny widened his eyes after he realized the entire situation. Oh, geez, Jay exclaimed in disappointment when he knew Manny had fallen for a prank. I laughed loudly, causing the kid to fume in anger. Don't be mad, Manny. Ha ha ha. You did well in the matches. You can surely beat Jay and Phil if you play against them. Why me? What do you even know about me? Jay asked in dissatisfaction. I know you will lose against Manny, I said decisively. You know what? We will play chess together at home. Jay said and grabbed Manny's shoulder before he urged Manny to get into the car. Why do you always provoke him? Gloria asked after Jay was out of earshot. Why are you mad at me? Now, Manny and Jay will spend more time together. I sense that they aren't that close with each other, am I right? Gloria was slightly surprised and replied, that's true. Manny still couldn't accept Jay fully. I tried hard, but they were both too stubborn. She vented a little. Yeah. I guessed that. I replied. Gloria flashed a soft smile and patted my head. You're a good kid. I hope you can continue being friends with Manny. Okay. I will. His soccer match is tomorrow, right? Tell him I said good luck with his match. Also, tell him Brenda Feldman has a boyfriend, so he will get shot down if he confesses to her. Gloria's face changed into a shocked expression. He wants to confess? But he's a 10-year-old boy, and she's 16? Dunphy's house. Third-party POV. Why is he coming again? Haley asked in confusion after Claire told her about Edward's visit tomorrow. She had planned to invite Dylan to her house to watch a movie, but she texted Dylan not to come after hearing about the visit. I made a promise with him. It's just for an afternoon. Claire said to persuade Haley as she knew Haley and Edward were fighting. Besides, your father is already too excited for it that nothing you say will change anything. Claire said casually. Haley opened her mouth, but no words would come out. Haley's commentary. Sitting with her arms crossed on the sofa, Haley has a complicated expression on her face. I told Dylan about Edward. And he's a bit angry. I know he'll pick a fight if he meets him, so I tell Dylan not to come. Haley confessed. He's being stupid, and I don't want him to meet my mom and dad like this. The band was in the wrong, but he insisted on following Brian's word against mine. Now, I'm the one who had to suffer for it. Haley said while flipping her hair. Commentary ends. Sunday morning came, and Dunphy's house was hectic from the start. Children. Breakfast. Claire, still dressed in her robes, shouted out to her children from the kitchen, even though they were all on the second level. She was standing between the refrigerator and the kitchen island, removing food from the refrigerator to serve her family. Claire's husband, Phil, stood on her left with a game console in his hand. He focused so hard on his game that he tuned out what his wife was talking about and only responded periodically. Kids? Claire called out again, but there was still no response. She sighed and said to her husband, Phil. Will you get them? Yeah. 1 second. Phil said, not prying his face away from the console. As Claire turned to the kitchen island, Phil grabbed a fruit snack from the fridge and closed the fridge door halfway. Kids. Claire called out again. After getting the vegetables out, she turned to store them inside the fridge, but she crashed into the fridge door that Phil had changed. All the vegetables fall down on the floor, causing Phil to raise his face at a scary-faced Claire. Phil quickly listened to her wife's words and shouted, Kids! Get down here! Haley walked into the kitchen wearing a tight white top and a mini skirt. Why are you guys yelling at us when we are way upstairs? Just text me. Haley said. All right, Phil replied casually. That's not going to happen. Claire quickly admonished both her husband and her daughter. Claire saw what Haley was wearing, and she said, Wow! You're not wearing that outfit. Why? What's wrong with it? Haley asked in puzzlement. Honey, don't you have anything to tell your daughter about her skirt? Claire asked, and she found Phil was focusing on the game again. Honey! She called in frustration. Sorry, Phil said and raised his head to look at his daughter's outfit. Haley was posing for Phil to see what's wrong with her clothes. Ah, that looks really cute, sweetheart. Phil said lovingly. Thanks, Haley said, face full of smiles. Claire was frustrated and took the matter into her hands. No. It's way too short. People know you're a girl. You don't need to prove it to them. Alex walked into the kitchen and said, "Luke got his head stuck in the banister again." Phil quickly responded, "I got it." "Where's the baby oil?" Claire replied, "It's on our bedside dash." She silenced herself before exposing her private life with Phil. "I don't know, Phil." "Find it," Claire said after rearranging her words. Ding dong, asterisk. The doorbell rang as Phil was inside his room searching for the baby oil. Claire walked to the front door and opened it. "Hi, Edward. You're early." Dressed in a long-sleeved, black checkered shirt with the sleeves folded and worn-out jeans, Edward said, "It's 9:30? You told me to come at 10. I thought it would be polite to come early. I also thought I could score some breakfast here. Is that okay?" Claire paused for a while as her mind raced through multiple thought processes. She replied, "It's okay. Come on in." Chapter 15, Shoot. Part 1. Edward POV. When Claire opened the door, I saw Luke was stuck halfway through the banister on the stairs. His head and his right arm had gotten through the gap between the banisters. "Luke? Why are you like that?" I asked, passing through Claire, who opened the door to get to Luke. I walked while clutching my laptop bag and I put down a large, wrapped box which contained my gift for Lily. The box caught Claire's attention, and she asked, "What is that?" "This is a gift for Cam and Mitch. I am grateful for them, so I wanted to give them something. I was hoping that you can give it to them later on. They are coming back today, right?" "Yes. We will go to their house at 5, so I guess I can send your gift for you," Claire said, wanted to take the gift box away from my hand. But I stopped her and said, "Be careful. There is a mechanism that will shoot confetti when it's opened. If handled crassly, the mechanism will be broken." "Confetti?" Claire asked in confusion. "Cam likes confetti, right? He told me about that before. I also put glitter inside," I said. I actually lied about it to prevent Claire peeking inside the box before Cam and Mitch opened it. I walked to Luke, who's stuck in the banister. "He's like this sometimes," she said to ensure I didn't think less of her son. "Hey, Ed." Luke greeted happily with his head poking out of the gap. "Were you trying to get out using the gap?" I asked as I stood in front of Luke. "Yeah," Luke replied sadly. Phil was in the bedroom, still trying to find the baby oil to lubricate Luke's head. Alex spied on me from the kitchen and quickly fixed her hair and clothes before she approached me. She was nervous to meet me again. She wore her favorite gray shirt with a big peace sign logo on it and said as she stood next to me to poke fun at her brother, "I'm just going to say it. He needs to be checked by a specialist." "Alex." Claire stopped her daughter from embarrassing her brother inside before she walked to the kitchen to continue preparing breakfast for the kids. "Do you have any allergies, Edward?" Claire asked. "No. I'm fine," I replied from afar. I ignored Alex and turned to Luke. "Why did you stop halfway? With your head already gone through, it will be easy to get the rest of your body out." "That's impossible. He won't be able to do it," Alex interjected before Luke could reply. I turned to her and said, "I'm sorry? Are you talking to me? I thought you're going to continue ignoring me?" She was stunned and a bit flabbergasted by the words. "I didn't mean to," Alex said hurriedly. "What's your excuse then? I already accepted the fact that you do not want to be my friend and I have been grieving for a few days." "No. That's not it," Alex said with a raised voice. "I just didn't know what to type back. And then I waited for too long, it'll be awkward for me to start texting. I'm really sorry." "Really, Alex? You couldn't just say hey?" Luke teased. "Shut up, Luke," Alex said. Claire peeked from the kitchen after she heard the heated argument. "Kids, what happened?" Claire asked perfunctorily. "Nothing, Mom," both Luke and Alex replied at the same time. Claire shrugged her shoulders and continued preparing the food. I thought inwardly as I saw the situation in the entire house. Even though it was the day of the pilot episode, the situation didn't serve to explain the dynamics of the characters like it was supposed to. That's when I understand that I'm inside a real world, not a TV show. There wasn't an explanation on why Claire became as uptight and controlling as she was, or Phil's attitude towards his children's. New gate? Alex called out with a shaky voice. Call me Ed, and I won't hold it against you anymore. Alex hesitated for a while, and after an internal struggle, she replied, Okay Ed. I smiled to show that I didn't carry a grudge any longer. Alex breathes in relief as she finally resolves the misunderstanding. Do you really think he won't be able to get out? I asked. He already tried it before, and he got stuck, the same as right now. It will be impossible. I don't think so. I think he can get out. I said with a smirk. Alex raised her brows and said, Prove it then. Dare to bet? Bet on what? Alex replied hesitatingly. Then, she shook her head and said confidently. Okay, it's a bet. She was confident that Luke wouldn't be able to get out of the gap and knew for sure she was going to win in the bet no matter what we're betting on. Phil walked downstairs and greeted me happily when he saw me. Hey D-Money. Eddie is fine vitamin P. I said with a smile. Alex and Luke were confused by the interaction, but they didn't say anything. Just wait a while. I'm going to free Luke now. Phil said and opened up the baby oil cap. No. Don't. Alex and I stopped Phil at the same time. What is happening? Phil asked in confusion. They are using me as their science experiment. Luke said with excitement. Are you okay with this, Luke? If you're uncomfortable, we can cancel the bet. I said. I always wanted to be a science experiment. You won't take this away from me. Luke replied agitatedly. Oh, I remember when I was the subject of a science experiment in college. They always make me compete against a monkey. Phil reminiscences. I ignored Phil and turned to Alex. So, what are we betting on? If Luke can't escape, you'll. Alex took some time to think, and then she said, You go first. If I win, you need to back me up when I lie about something, 3 times. Then if I win, you need to do the same thing. Alex said. We got a deal then? I said, holding my hand out for a handshake. Deal. Alex shook my head confidently. Phil laughed and said ceremoniously, and the game is on. Nerd versus artist. Dad. Alex was in disbelief and stopped her dad quickly as she was called a nerd. Phil realizes what he said and quickly apologized, sorry. I studied the stairs' height and Luke's height roughly. I then pulled the lamp table after putting the lamp on the sofa. I brought the desk closer to the stairs to make sure Luke wouldn't fall on his head after he got out. Luke. Now, you won't fall. I said reassuringly. I noticed that he could get out from the banister, but the difference in height would make him fall and knock his head directly on the floor. I also put some cushions on the floor for him to be more confident. First, get your left hand through. I said. How? Luke asked. For him, there wasn't any more space for him to move. Bend your knees, and let your head be placed around the middle. I guided him through the process. He lowered his head, and finally managed to get his left hand through the gap. Hey, it worked! Luke said excitedly. It was easy for him to shimmer his body, and he passed through smoothly until his torso managed to get out of the gap. He rested his body on the table I had set up and tried to get his waist past the gap. I'm stuck, Luke said after struggling. Told you, Alex said haughtily. She was a bit scared when Luke managed to get half of his body out, but now she had one. Nah. Only his belt is stuck. If he takes it off, he can pass through. Phil said, being deeply invested in the bet. Take off your belt, Luke. I said. I can't. Luke said. You do it. No. No help. He needs to do it himself. Alex quickly stopped me. Luke, you heard your sister. She doesn't believe in you. I said in a fake sad tone. But I believe in you, Luke. You can do this. Show Alex she is wrong. Phil added, You got this, Luke. Luke showed a look of determination and re-entered his left hand through the gap. He unbuckled his belt and also his pants in the process. As he passed through the gap, his pants were taken off by the banister. He almost got all of his body out of the gap, but his feet were stuck. Take off your shoes too, Luke. I said. He kicked off his shoes, and finally the stuck pants managed to be taken off. He got one leg out of the gap, making Alex's face turn ashen. What are you guys doing? Claire saw the sight of a pantless Luke lying on top of a small table with one of his legs stuck in the gap. Alex, Phil, and I turned to Claire at the same time. Luke, however, ignored his mother and freed his other leg from the gap. I did it! Luke said excitedly. You did it, buddy! Phil hugged the pantless Luke after he saw his son, with his own efforts, manage to overcome a challenge. Luke! Put on your pants! Claire shouted from the kitchen. Phil! Seriously? She called out to her husband in disbelief and stampeded toward the group. Oh! Alex exclaimed after realizing that her mother was mad. It was Edwa Dash. She turned beside her to find me, but I was gone. I had already moved away to the living room when I saw Claire. What is going on? I approached them innocently as if I'd only came there after I heard the noise. Great Phil. Now he will want to do this again. Claire said while checking whether Luke has any injuries. Good job, Phil. Good job. Claire said in anger. It wasn't me who told him the way to do it. Phil defended himself. It was Alex. I said. Alex was stunned and looked toward me in horror. I mouthed the word bet toward her as she faced me. Luke and Phil catch the situation, but Claire doesn't. Alex? Claire asked. Alex hesitated for a while, so I urged her stealthily with only my facial expression. She finally sighed and said, I did it. Luke exploded into excitement and screamed woohoo. Before he ran through the living room. He got two of his lifelong wishes fulfilled today. To get out of the banister's gap, and to get Alex in trouble. Luke! Claire snapped and Luke froze in his tracks. Put on your pants, and go to the kitchen. All of us, Phil included, checked our pants as she yelled, and ran to the kitchen together. I saw Haley in the kitchen texting after I walked in. I greeted her normally and sat down on the chair at the dining table for breakfast that Claire had already prepared. Haley ignored me and continued texting without acknowledging my presence in her house. Edward, I will make the cake right after this. Claire said. Maybe she wanted me out of her house sooner, or she just couldn't let me wait long. I didn't know which way she was thinking. Right now? Okay. Phil, are you busy after this? I asked after I replied to Claire. I have a showing in the afternoon, but I'm free now. What is it, Eddie? Phil asked. I have created a website, and I want to get your opinion on it, if you're willing. Phil was excited. You have created a website? That's why you bring your laptop with you. Okay. I will take a look. Really? You made it on your own? Claire asked in skepticism. I did. It wasn't fully completed yet. You can check it with Phil after this. I would love your opinions on this. I said with a smile. Claire didn't expect that, and she said, Really? My opinion? Yeah. You were a marketing major in college, right? I asked. How do you know? Claire narrowed her eyes in suspicion. Phil quickly whispered to Claire, I told him yesterday. Why? Claire whispered back to her husband. I don't know. He asked. Phil said. Claire's commentary. I knew it. He's planning something. I need to find out what. Claire said. Commentary ends. What website did you make? Alex asked. It's for my dad's business. Ship Tourism and Leisure. I explained. Haley finally raised her eyes from the phone as the conversation intrigued him. I turned to her and asked for her help. Haley, can you help me to take a look too? I would love your opinion. Really? I thought I was vain and shallow. Haley replied with venom in her tone. Yes. That's exactly why I want you to take a look. You're kinda the target audience for the website. I replied with a sly smile on my face. She scoffed, but she didn't refuse to help me in the matter. Third-person POV. Football field. Manny's soccer match finally started after a long time waiting for Jay. When the game started, something unexpected happened. Jay was sitting on a foldable chair while Gloria was reacting dramatically at the side of the field. Vamos, Manny! Kick it! Kick it! Gloria yelled out, but Manny stopped running forward after passing the ball to the midfielders. Why aren't you kicking it? Gloria yelled in frustration. Manny's commentary. My friend Edward taught me something yesterday. Soccer is like a game of chess. You cannot win the game alone. All of the pieces needed to move together as a team for one to win. When I stood on the field, I realized that none of the kids there knows what they are doing. So I took the command and made the field my chessboard. Commentary ends. Pass to 11. Manny yelled from afar. The opposition team were swarming the ball in droves, making various parts of the field being open. Manny has been commanding his team in battle after his coach was proven to be useless. He was from Colombia. He knew how soccer was played. Manny. What's next? A spiky-haired blonde kid in a number 11 jersey yelled in anxiousness. Shoot, what are you waiting for? Manny yelled in frustration. The number 11 kid kicked the ball, and it went into the goal. Manny's commentary. Edward also told me, if I was sure about something, don't be afraid to let out what I'm thinking. I screamed a lot today. I think my throat is more sore than the rest of my body. Commentary ends. Son of a bit dash, Jay cursed while smiling after seeing the score being tied in 1-1 in the first half of the game. How the hell did he know how to play soccer? After having their chess game last night, Jay thought of Manny as a chess genius and they had played together for a few matches. Like Edward predicted, as they argued with each other while they were playing, both of them were closer to each other today. Gloria was still frustrated as it wasn't Manny who scored the ball. I don't know. Maybe that Edward kid is a good coach. For sure better than this one. Gloria said, staring dagger at Manny's teen-balding football coach. The coach broke into a cold sweat and moved further away from the Colombian mother, fearing for his safety. Is Manny yours? A young dad in his ripped jeans and a heavy metal t-shirt walked to Gloria. He took off his sunglasses and put it on top of his hat as he held his hand for a handshake with Gloria. Yes. Gloria replied. I'm Josh. Ryan's dad. Josh said as he pointed at number 11 on the field. Gloria Pritchett. I'm Manny's mother. Gloria replied. You know that was the first goal in the kids' entire season? Josh said in excitement. They were usually beaten black and blue. Josh continued. What? Gloria asked. She didn't know what the word meant. He means they always lose badly. Jay explained from his seat. Oh, that must be your dad. Josh said, looking toward Jay. Her dad? Jay muttered. Yeah. Josh said, didn't know what he said wrong. No. That's funny. Actually, no, I'm her husband. Jay said. He was trying to get up from the chair to get to Gloria. Don't be fooled by the, give me a second here. He said as he struggled to get up. Although the kids played well, the opposing team had more experience than them, and managed to bring the score to 3-2. It's a minute until the game ends, and Manny has the ball. But then, he saw Brenda Fellman, a pretty, blonde-haired white girl wearing a long-sleeved white shirt and jeans, riding her bicycle at the park and was watching him playing in the field. Brenda wasn't watching Manny, but was watching the kids playing as a whole, but Manny was too love-struck to care. He stopped running to wave at Brenda at the last hour of the game. The whistle was blown, and the game was finally over. The crowd groaned at Manny as he had abandoned the chance for the game to be a tie. "Oh geez. Didn't you have a talk with him yet?" Jay asked Gloria, his tone full of dissatisfaction. "I didn't. I don't want to put him down right before his match," Gloria replied as she watched Manny smiling meekly while waving at Brenda. Manny requested to go to the mall to confess to Brenda. That was when Gloria told him what Edward had told her. "She has a boyfriend?" Manny asked in a sad tone. "Aye, Poppy. I'm so sorry," Gloria said to comfort him. Jay added, "Don't feel bad, Manny. You did very well today. There was this little snafu at the end, but I think you have a knack for this game dash." "I'm quitting soccer," Manny said. "What? Why?" Jay asked in exasperation. "I only took part in this to show Brenda my athletic side because I know she likes men who play sports. Now, there isn't any reason for me to play anymore. Mom, can I use your phone to call Ed? I want to thank him for teaching me." "But Poppy, I don't have his number," Gloria said. She only knew the landline number, but not Edward's personal phone number. Manny said, "I'll call Luke. Maybe he knows." That wraps up this part of What If Karmic Gacha in Modern Family World. Thanks so much for listening. As always, new parts drop every 4 days, so be sure to stay tuned. Quick reminder. What If Reborn as Gohan in future timeline will be going on hold soon, since we've nearly caught up with the author. So now, I need your help picking the next project for the channel. I'm currently deciding between these 3 fanfics. What if Transmigrated in One Piece and becoming a Marine? What if Ichigo awoke his powers to save his mother? What if Transmigrated into a nightmare mode Dragon Ball world? Please vote in the poll and let me know which story you'd like to see next. I'll take the top pick and start working on that as the series next. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and please consider supporting the original author as well. See you in the next one.